Hello, everyone. It looks like people are still filtering in, so I'll give it a minute here. I'm John. I'm one of the co-founders of MLH. Feel free to say hi in chat. Hi, Gary. Um, we're going to be doing a baking stream here. I saw the coffee stream earlier this week. It was super fun. I always like to take a little bit of a break from hacking and do some other activities because we all do other things beyond coding. Um, so I'd love for people in chat just to comment like what's their favorite part of local hack day so far, um, and we'll talk about it real soon. We're going to be baking cupcakes, specifically Hostess Cupcakes. This is like kind of like junk foody, like I don't know, like cream filled cupcake that you can get at a convenience store. Um, and I'm going to be making a home version of that. So it should be pretty fun. Have any of you had this before? I don't know if this is like a US specific thing or not. Um, I always liked these as a kid. Alrighty, so we will get started because I only have about an hour here, and this will definitely take some time. Um, and feel free to share this with your friends. So I'm making these from a cookbook called Brave Tart. It's one of my favorite baking cookbooks. The author is Stella Parks. She has all sorts of interesting recipes about recreating like brand name foods and stuff like that. So there's a recipe in here for like make your own Oreos. There's recipes in here for like um, making Twinkies, like all sorts of weird stuff. So that's where this came from. Um, I don't know that I'll be able to finish the entire thing in an hour, but we should make most of our progress. So without further ado, we can start this off. I actually have a second camera here so that we can see what's going on over here. Let's see if that works. Um, sorry, I'm adjusting my cameras here. Cool. Whoop. I don't know if anyone watched the one last time where my camera came loose and fell in a pot. That was very fun. Okay, so let's kick this off. What are the different views we have? Alrighty, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. So we're going to make the cupcakes first. I have my mixer right here. I'll show that to you in a second. You can probably hear it in the background. And then I have my little scale to measure all of the ingredients. Um, so let's do it. So we're going to sift the flour and cocoa powder together first. Oop, let me get my bowl so you can see what's going on here. Alrighty, and feel free to comment in chat if you have questions or thoughts or comments. All right, let's start weighing some ingredients. A lot of recipes these days do ingredients by weight instead of by like cup measures because it's a little bit more accurate. Hope you can see the bottom of my gross cabinets there. Okay, so we're going to need 6 ounces of flour. I got my flour right here. And I'm just going to pour this in until the scale reads 6 ounces. You can't see the scale measurement, but you'll know it when I get there. So we're just going to pour some all-purpose flour in. I need about 6 ounces, which is almost exactly like a cup and a half. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, that's 6.05. That should be fine. I can even take a little bit out if I want to get it really exact. Okay, great. Next, we're gonna measure out some cocoa powder. So obviously these are, chocolate cupcakes. So we got to do cocoa powder to make them chocolatey. I just have like some pretty basic cocoa powder here. It's just Hershey's. And we need 4 ounces of that, which is about 1 1/3 cups. And we're going to sift all of this because sometimes you get like clumps in stuff and you don't want that. Okay. Yeah, you can see there's all little clumps in there, and we're going to sift those right out. Almost. There we go. That's 4 ounces. Great. And next we're going to add in, we're going to sift that into the mixer bowl. So let me rearrange this real quick. Awesome, you can all see this now. We're just going to pour that all into my little sifter. This is the fun part, you just got to shake it until it's all in there. And this gets out all of the clumps. As I said, feel free to post in chat if you have questions or anything. Where are people from? I'd love to hear like where in the world everyone's from. I'm in New York, in the U.S. We got a quiet chat here today, or maybe there's a little bit of lag. I see. We got someone from, I think that's Kirkland, Washington, named after the famous Kirkland famous brand from Costco. That's a joke. We have someone from Texas. Got a couple folks from India. Love it. Do they have Hostess Cupcakes in India? Is this a American thing? What's the dish giveaway? I don't have I don't know what a dish giveaway is. Okay, they have loads of them. Great. I'm glad this is an international food. Last time I made an apple pie, and I got some people saying that they had never had apple pie before. So I'm glad we could make it a little bit more international this time. All right. Okay. So I sifted everything. It looks really nice and smooth. And now we are going to add some other ingredients: sugar, baking soda, and salt. And then we're going to add some wet ingredients too. Okay. I'm going to do this in my mixer because I'm quite lazy. I'm going to move the camera over so y'all can see it. Okay. Yeah, apple pie is definitely an American thing. Oop, okay. Cool. Okay, so I need 8.5 ounces of sugar. I guess I'll get that bowl back. You can kind of see both things at once here. So we're going to need 8.5 ounces of sugar. It's plain white sugar. Oops, a little too much there. I'm going to scoop some back in. This is a very lazy way of doing this with my hands. And then we're going to need baking soda. That's the rising agent. So if you guys don't bake, that's what makes it puff up real nice. And we have 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Let's see. Got my little spoons here. Oop. Honestly, I might sift the baking soda because it has a tendency to get pretty clumpy, which is not ideal. You can kind of see that there. So I'm going to run that through the sifter real quick, make sure we don't have any like big chunks of baking soda. That would taste gross if you got one in your cupcake. And then we will do, what's next? Salt. Okay, gotta have salt, half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, half a teaspoon of salt. And now we will start adding some of the wet ingredients. So I'm just going to dump that in the mixer. And so the wet ingredients we have are 10 ounces of buttermilk, which is 1¼ cups, eggs, vanilla, coconut oil. Okay, I already melted our coconut oil. Just going to dump that right in. You can see that there. And that's instead of putting butter in. Let's see, I need a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Don't weigh it, just use feeling. You know, that's a really hard thing to do for baking because normally when you're baking, there's some science involved. I definitely cook that way sometimes, but a little difficult with baking. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of vanilla here. Great. And then we need 4 eggs and 1¼ cups of buttermilk. Let me get my eggs over here. And my buttermilk. Okie dokie. The coconut oil doesn't really have a lot of flavor, honestly. I saw a question in chat there that it might make it taste like coconut. Only a very little bit. Okay, we got 1 egg. We got 2 eggs. 3. And 4. Awesome. And last but not least, we're going to add the buttermilk. Buttermilk is kind of like a really tangy, cultured milk. It's almost like somewhere in between yogurt and milk. It's a little bit thicker than milk, has a different flavor, but it's quite nice. Okay. So I'm going to use an actual cup measure for this one. Do I need to shake this first? Yeah, shake well, it says. And it's 1¼ cup. Do I have a 1/4 cup measure handy? Okay, well, we'll figure that out when we get there. Okay. Gonna add a cup of buttermilk. Great, and then I need a 1/4 cup less. Yeah, you could probably use buttermilk powder. You would need to, I think with buttermilk powder, you add it to like milk or something, right, to get the flavor. I think that's fine. A lot of people actually make their own buttermilk too, which you can do. You can kind of like simulate the taste of buttermilk. I think it's with like vinegar and milk or something weird like that. Um, that's not generally my preference because I think the real stuff tastes a little better. But you know, to each their own. For different recipes, it matters differently, right? Like some things get more of their flavor from it. Sometimes it's just a chemical thing. There's a lot of variety there. Alrighty. So we have all the stuff in the mixer. Doesn't look that good yet, but we're gonna mix it together. Okay, y'all can see that getting mixed together now. And that'll probably take a minute to finish up. And all we're going to do with that is put it right in the cupcake molds and throw it in the oven, which I already preheated to 350 Fahrenheit. Let's speed that up a little bit. I'm just going to go in there and scrape it down just in case anything's stuck to the mixer here. Usually use like a rubber spatula for this. You can see I'm already getting some clumps in there, which is good because it means we're going to get this all mixed together properly. I'll probably have to do this once more, honestly, before we're done. Okay. Let me just get that once more. Yeah, there's still some clumps in here. Can you all hear the mixer and stuff when it's on, or can you only hear me? I'm wearing a headset, so I don't know how far it goes. Hello, newcomers. For anyone who just joined, we're making Hostess Cupcakes. It's a nice, like, junk foodie thing. I don't actually know that I've ever had it at a hackathon, but I feel like it would be good at a hackathon, maybe for like a midnight snack. Okay, great. I'm glad it's not too loud because it's kind of an annoying noise. Okay. Let's see. I might finish this off by hand just to make sure it's all good. It actually looks pretty smooth, doesn't it? Let's just make sure. We don't want clumpy. There's still some clumps in there. I'm kind of scraping it as I mix here, just to make sure that's all good. Cupcakes and Twinkies are indeed good anytime, though. I'm getting old, so I can't eat them too much. Still a little clumpy. I don't love that, but maybe it's okay. If I want to be really anal about this, I could throw it in like a food processor or something, but I think we're probably okay here. Sorry, I'm just reading the recipe real quick. So I think now we just bake them. So we should probably be good here. Okay, let me get a little scoop, and then we'll start filling these pans up. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only older person here. Okay, great. Let's see. Do I have a good scoop for this? Okay. Yeah. Let's try this. I just have like a little cup measure. I think will work well. Okay. Yeah, I think the hardened stuff is actually coconut oil. I Part of me says I actually might throw this in a food processor because I'm now worried it's a little too chunky. Um, the recipe said that the coconut oil should still be warm, which I thought it was, but perhaps it cooled down too quickly and solidified here. And we do not want chunky batter. Thank you. I quite like this hat too. Sometimes when you're baking, you got to be ready to adjust on the fly. It doesn't always work out perfectly the first time around. good life skill, I guess, similar to hacking. Let me grab a food processor real quick. It'll add a little bit more cleanup work, which is kind of annoying, but probably result in a better end product here. Okie dokie. Got my fancy schmancy appliance here. Okay, folks. We are progressing along, slowly but surely. I'm just going to dump all of this in. And we are going to hope for the best. What is everyone's favorite junk food? I'm like a huge chocolate fan in general, so anything with chocolate in it, I'm probably uh, extra excited about. I'm curious what the crowd favorite is here. I also feel like it might vary a little bit based on region. Like I know different states have stuff, different countries. I'm always impressed at like the varieties of different potato chip flavors when I travel, which is a big one. Pizza. You know, I love a good pizza. I live in New York and I probably don't eat it as often as I could, but I do truly love pizza. Oh, someone just joined me in StreamYard. Interesting. Let's see. This is not positioned correctly. There we go. Okay. That dealt with, I think, most of the chunks here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that's quite a bit less chunky just from a quick test. I might do it a little bit more just to make sure, but okay, that's good enough. I don't want to overmix it. Okay, folks, now we're ready to fill the cupcakes. I'll bring this back over. Second time's the charm. Yeah, I guess there are less people today. You know, it's funny. Last time we had like 80 people watching the apple pie baking. Maybe people don't like. Maybe people like pie better than cupcakes. Who knows? You know, we've actually had a bunch of debates internally about whether we want to do like non-hacking content on the local hack day streams. I always think it's kind of nice. Like, I feel like hackers aren't like, you know, totally one-dimensional, and so it's often nice to have some other content and things and, you know, subjects people are passionate about beyond writing code. But that's just my opinion. You know, I actually did make a robot once that baked cookies. Myself and Swift and a couple of other MLHers were participating in a hackathon, and we made a robot that baked fresh cookies and like spit them out like a vending machine. It was pretty janky, honestly. It wasn't like, you know, I'd never put it somewhere in public, but it was a lot of fun. Pretty delicious too. Yeah, I mean, I didn't say I wasn't a nerd. I just said I have other interests beyond coding. Still a nerd. These headphones, I actually don't. It's Hyper X Cloud Mix or something. I actually won them at an event. I didn't buy them, so I have no idea how much they cost or where they come from. But they're quite nice. I've been told the mic has very good quality for a headphone. Okay, we got another cupcake pan here. Oh, that's true. People are asleep in APAC. I think last time I may have done this session more during the middle of the day, but whatever. Whatever. That's fine. Okay. Where's my spatula? So after this, I think we have a hacking session with. Oh man, I'm forgetting who the host is. I saw it earlier, but there's a bunch more sessions today. So, you know, I don't want to encourage anyone to stay up all night if you're overseas, but certainly there will be more going on today. This is not the final session of the day. Okay, great. And so basically, once these are in the oven, I'm gonna make the chocolate topping and the whipped cream that goes inside, and we'll let all of it cool and finish it up. I don't know that we'll have time to actually fill the cupcakes on the stream, but we should be able to make all the component parts here. Lemon tart. I love a good lemon tart. I feel like it's a underrated dessert. I'm getting down to the wire here of filling. Might need to start scraping this out. So for anyone who joined partway through, I'm John. I'm one of the co-founders of MLH. I work on finding cool sponsors for a lot of our events. So when we have like offers and stuff from partners like Linode or whoever else, I am part of the team that finds those companies. It's a lot of fun. I quite enjoy it. There's a handful of other people on that team that may be around for parts of local hack day, so you might meet them at some point. But I used to be a developer, so before MLH, I actually worked at a company called Twilio. I believe they're a sponsor of Local Hack Day, which is awesome. And before that, I did a bunch of random web development work. I'm mostly a Ruby developer, which I feel like is less popular these days than it used to be. But I'm still a big fan. A lot of the code at MLH is written in Ruby. So it's kind of our stack of choice. Okie dokie. We're getting to the part where my kitchen is becoming a mess. I have like chocolate all over the floor here. Okay. I'm gonna need a spoon to scoop some more of this out. I find cooking to be very like relaxing. It's like a very different I don't know, like mental muscle than other tasks. I'm pretty sure I can fill these last two if I repurpose some batter from the bigger cupcakes I have. Almost there, folks. I feel like this stuff always takes longer than you expect, The kitchen doesn't smell nice yet, I gotta get these in the oven first, but it certainly will smell nice momentarily. I'm gonna even some of these out a little bit. Some of them are a lot bigger than they need to be. I think we can actually get a last extra cupcake out of it. And no one will know the difference except for us. Okay. Great. I think we're good to go here. So I'm going to pop these in the oven. They only need like 15 minutes or so. Um, so they shouldn't take too long to bake. Oops. All right. Let me wash my hands real quick and then we'll move on to some of the other pieces of this. I might actually need to wash my mixer bowl before we get too far here. Okie dokie. So, Hostess Cupcakes have a couple of different components. They have a marshmallowy filling, they have a chocolate topping, and they have a little like cute little design on top, as you can see here. And we have to make all of those from scratch. So, what has to happen next? Let me get my cookbook back. Next, we're going to make the topping. So, we're going to do a double boiler here. I'm actually going to try and. Am I going to move the camera? No, I might just move my laptop so y'all can see what's going on. I'm going to melt some chocolate heavy cream and corn syrup. The way this works is we're going to heat up a pot here. I don't know if you can see this in the background, of water. And the boiling water, this is going to go on top of the pot like this. And that'll prevent the chocolate from burning. So it kind of, heats it up a little bit more gradually. So we're just going to use some dark chocolate chips here. I need 6.5 ounces of these. Okay, great. Okay, so we have the chocolate chips. Let me put that on the baking camera here so you can see it. Then we're going to add oh, I actually misread this. We're not going to use a double boiler. I'm just going to heat up the cream in a pot and then we're going to add it to the chocolate. So I need how much heavy cream? I need half a cup of heavy cream. Okay, which one of these is open? I have two things of heavy cream in my fridge, and one is open and one's not. Okay, so we need a half a cup of heavy cream. Okay, we're going to heat that up here. Should heat up pretty quickly there. Then we're going to add chocolate and corn syrup to it. So I need to heat it until it's simmering. So we don't want it to boil. We just want it to simmer a little bit. So like right below boiling temperature. And then I'm going to need corn syrup and chocolate. The corn syrup helps keep it stable, so that it doesn't like get all funky. And then last but not least, we're going to make the marshmallow stuff. So I actually started making this yesterday because it needs a couple hours to rest. But basically, it's homemade marshmallow. So you can see it here. Whoop. And we're going to be adding some milk and cream to it to thin it out and make it more like a filling. Alrighty. And then last, oops, I forgot to set a timer for those cupcakes, didn't I? When did I put those in? Probably about 5 or 6 minutes ago would be my guess. Okay. We're going to set a 10-minute timer here just to be safe. And I'm going to poke them with a toothpick to make sure they're done. I might actually rotate them in a couple of minutes too, because different points in the oven are usually different temperatures. Okay, that heavy cream is properly simmered. We're going to add the chocolate to it. I can show you this too. I just need a little cork mat so I don't burn my table. Where is that? I don't know if anyone else's kitchen is like mine, where you can almost never find what you need. You know what? I'll just use an oven mitt instead. Just as good. So I'm just going to toss this here so you all can see it. And we're going to put the cream on top. And then we're going to whisk it all in. Whoop. Great, you can kind of see that. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to add the chocolate to that. And basically the heat from the cream is just going to melt that for us. And we're going to add the corn syrup too. We need 1 tablespoon of corn syrup, so really not very much. Not a lot of corn syrup. Corn syrup is one of those things I actually hate working with because it's so like goopy and sticky and hard to deal with. But you know, it does give things a really nice texture. You can see it's like totally stuck in the measuring spoon. Sometimes I'll just whoop, dig it out with my finger so that doesn't we don't lose half of it. Okay, great. Let's whisk this up. And so we're literally just making the chocolate topping. And so we're going to put like a spoonful of this on every cupcake to finish them once we add the filling. Looks like molten glue, someone says. I've never seen brown glue, but yeah, sure. I guess that's a good approximation. That looks pretty mixed up, doesn't it? Pretty smooth. Nice and chocolatey. Okay, great. Just going to leave that over here. And then we're going to finish up the marshmallow topping. This is actually going to require me, I think, to wash my mixer bowl first because we're going to need to whisk it up pretty well. So I'm just going to do that, and I will talk to y'all while I'm over here. I feel like baking sometimes requires a similar mindset to programming. There's a lot of like process and best practices and different steps that you can rearrange. I know a lot of people who are really into like programming who also love cooking. And I feel like it's like equal parts art and science, right? Like sometimes people talk about hacking that way too, where even though it's kind of a technical discipline and you have to, understand a lot of like theory and math and stuff like that, it's actually kind of a creative pursuit as well, right? Like you can't just get away with only knowing the technical parts. You also have to be able to think about things critically, how they impact users, all of that kind of stuff in order to be successful. And so I like to tell myself that's a similar skill set, and I'm building the same muscle here by cooking and baking a lot. Mostly, I just like eating the stuff I bake, so whatever. Someone said, "Do you have to use dark chocolate?" Uh, you don't have to. It's what the recipe calls for. I mean, it would probably just taste slightly different if you used milk chocolate or semi-sweet instead of dark, right? Like, that's one of those things you can kind of experiment with. Okay. Gonna rearrange my baking cam here, and I'm actually gonna go rotate the cupcakes in the meantime, just so that they don't get a hot spot or anything like that. Ooh, they're looking good too. Okay, put these here. I'm gonna move those up there. Those are good looking cupcakes. Okay. So now we're gonna finish off the marshmallowy whipped cream stuff, which currently has sugar, water. What else goes in that? Sugar, water, gelatin, and vanilla extract, corn syrup, and salt, and a little bit of milk. And then we're going to add about 1.5 cups of heavy cream to that and whisk it up until it gets really nice and fluffy. So I need 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Let's make sure you can all see what's going on here. Okay, we'll add that back. Someone says I like to adapt the recipes. Honestly, using some raspberry in it would be good. In the cookbook I have here, so this is the cookbook I'm using. It's called Brave Tart. There is a recipe here for like a strawberry version, a butterscotch version, and so I think it's heavily encouraged to get creative here. I just gotta wash off my whisk real quick, and then we will be ready to go. The person in chat who is talking about kind of getting creative and messing with the recipes a little bit, what do you like to make? I'm definitely, I prefer baking, but I do cook a lot too. All sorts of stuff. American stuff, Chinese, Indian, you name it, I'll eat it and cook it. I'm gonna dry this off so it's not like super moist when we toss everything together. Raspberry pie. Is it testing in production if you're going to eat something you bake experimentally? Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Okay, so I need to scrape this marshmallow topping into there. Oop, it looks like that's really funny. It came out in like one big sheet. You can see it here. It like literally hardened into a homemade marshmallow. So when we add the heavy cream in, we're going to have to do it a little bit gradually. Otherwise, it's going to as you can see, it's pretty solid. Okay, so we're going to add 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Let's keep that going. I have my, I'm going to add a half cup at a time here. It's going to look really gross until it all blends together. Okay, this says our cupcakes should be done. They might need a couple more minutes, but while that's mixing up, I'm going to go test one with a toothpick here and see how they are. If I can find a toothpick, that is. Ah, here they are. Okay. Let's see. I have a feeling they're going to need a little bit more time, but we'll try and see. Yeah, that's not done at all. Let me just make sure the bottom ones aren't cooking faster here. They still look pretty, yeah, they need a couple more minutes. Okay. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to add another half cup of heavy cream now that this is starting to soften up. Okay. I'm going to set maybe a 3-minute timer here, just so they don't overcook. And then the last thing we have to do while the cupcakes are cooling is we're going to be making a little like glaze to go on top. So they have that like signature like little like squiggly line, and we're going to be making that. It's kind of just like a little icing. Okay, so we have the heavy cream is starting to blend up. I'm actually going to open a new one here. Our chocolate still looks good. Okay, let's add the last half cup here. And that's basically a homemade like marshmallowy whipped cream, very similar to like what the cupcakes actually have in them. Looking pretty good, isn't it? Let me just scrape that down and make sure nothing's stuck to the edges. But to me, that's looking quite nice. Really good texture. I'll have to taste some to see how it is. Okay. Oh, I can make MLH squiggles on top. That's a really good idea. I don't think I have MLH sprinkles though. I have a lot of like decorating stuff, but I don't think MLH sprinkles. Okay, we're gonna do this for 5 minutes, and then we will, I think, be able to take the cupcakes out of the oven too and finish it up. And really, the last thing is that I'm gonna turn that up. We want it to gain a little bit of volume, so we're actually like whipping air into it right now. You can see it's like starting to get a little more fluffy. Can you all see that? Yeah, I feel like, let me see if I can make these side by side. So it's actually like changing consistency pretty significantly there, right? It's becoming more like the consistency of whipped cream rather than marshmallows, but it has that marshmallowy flavoring in it, which is really nice. Okay. We're making pretty good time here, despite my earlier mess up with the chunky batter. That's looking pretty good. Okay. I think that those cupcakes should be done now. Let me check them again. And I'll leave that going while I check them just to give it a little bit more time. Oh, wow. These are really puffing up. Those are looking really nice. They still need more time, though. At least the top ones do. I'm guessing the bottom ones do also. Yeah. I might swap those again just for good measure. Okay, let's move those over. Because the top ones are actually cooking way faster, probably because the heating element of my oven is mostly on top here. Okay, great. So we're going to set another 3-minute timer. Okay. Yeah, I'll send the recipe. Let me find a link. I got some flour in my laptop case. I don't know if the recipe is public online. Hold on. Let's see if I can find a link to someone who transcribed it. Hmm. Here's the best link I can find. The Google Books link. I think this is probably done. I don't want to overmix it. I also feel like it deserves a taste just to see how it is. That's a really nice texture. Oh man, that's really freaking good. It literally tastes like marshmallow whipped cream. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm happy with that. Uh, who is going to eat all of these cupcakes? Um, I, I think that I think I know who that is. Um, my dog's name is Nori, and I have a feeling my wife is made a Twitch account here to comment. Hi, Katie. You're gonna eat all the cupcakes. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is make the little like frosting that goes on top, which is just a cup of powdered sugar and 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. It's like a really basic icing. I'll leave that there. Okay. Let's do this up. Yeah, they could be swag. I could mail them out to everyone when we're done. Okay. Maybe those cupcakes are done now. I feel like they took way longer than the recipe said they would take. Let's double check. Third time's the charm here, folks. Okay. Wow. They are taking a really long time to bake. Maybe I filled them too high. They definitely still need more time. Okay, we're going to leave them in there. I don't know why they're taking so long, but as you can see, if I show you my toothpick, it's still pretty wet in the middle. So we're going to need a little bit more time there. I'm going to make the icing in the meantime. It's really, really simple. We're going to do a cup of powdered sugar and 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. I am going to want to probably sift that though because it's a little it's going to be a little chunky. Okay. Yeah, the FedEx guy might eat them if I ship these out. I honestly don't think they'll last very well in the mail, personally. Um, so I need 4 ounces of powdered sugar. These are definitely not for the lactose intolerant. That's very true. Oddly enough, I'm actually incredibly lactose intolerant. I just take pills for it, so it's not as much of a problem. That's my personal fact of the day here. And it looks like our next session may have gotten pushed to 3:30, so perhaps we will be able to finish this, and I can show you some other fun stuff along the way. Okay, that's 4 ounces right there. I'm going to sift that in here. I feel like this is like good ASMR. I don't know if y'all can hear this, but the sifting noise is quite nice. Press that through. Okay. And how much heavy cream do we need? I think we need 2 tablespoons here, which I may have thrown back in the fridge already. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, there's my 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. And I think we just whisk that together real nice. Okay. It actually says to use a spatula, not a whisk, so we'll do that. It's actually kind of incredible how little liquid you need to like make icing. It's mostly sugar, which, you know, not very good for you, but pretty delicious. Okay. I don't know that this is thin enough. We might actually need to add a little bit more cream to thin this out. I'll have to look at what the recipe says. It's pretty thick icing here, but maybe that's what you want, right? Because you're making a design, so you don't want it to lose shape. For the record, this is the first time I've made these cupcakes, so I'm sort of figuring it out as I go here. Pretty nice looking icing. Let's see, it says you want smooth but stiff like peanut butter. I feel like that's peanut butter consistency. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Okay, so we have our icing. I'm going to eventually put that into a piping bag here. And I think we're basically done aside from filling the cupcakes. So I'm going to have to take them out, give them like a minute to cool, and then we will be able to fill them up and, you know, eat them, which is the goal here. Let's see. I'm really hoping they'll finish up soon, because if they do, we will be able to do the filling live on the stream here. I need to find another toothpick to test these. Alrighty. I said 3rd time's the charm. What I actually meant was 4th time's the charm. Oh, perfect. Okay, hold on. Yeah, those are done. Let me make sure the bottom ones are done. Those are kind of cooking at a different pace. Definitely looks good. Okay, those cupcakes are done. I'll show them to you right here. Ooh. Turn off the oven. And we need to let them cool before we can fill them. Hopefully that doesn't take too long. I'll show them again here. They came out pretty nice. They have a little dome. Ooh. Honestly, if I take them out and put them on a cooling rack, they'll probably cool quite a bit quicker. So I might make room and do that. Okay, folks. You know, last time I did this live stream, mostly people were watching me cut up apples for like an hour. Hopefully this is more interesting. Okay, let's get these cupcakes out, and then we will start assembling pretty soon. Where did I put that oven mitt? Okay, here. Okay. So you can kind of see in the background what I'm doing here. Trying not to dent the cupcakes too much. They came out pretty nice. They're quite hot right now. You're definitely supposed to, in an ideal scenario, let them cool off in the pan a little bit more because they'll do a better job of keeping their shape. But, you know, we don't have all the time in the world, so I'm going to accelerate things here a little bit. Whew, those are hot. Those are hot cupcakes. And basically, what you do to assemble them is you cut a little hole in the middle and you remove part of the cupcake and you fill the hole with the whipped cream, and then you put the top right back on and you dump a little chocolate on there. And so it basically you're hollowing it out and replacing some of the cupcake with cream. And so someone will get to eat all of those scraps, which is quite nice. And I think we'll probably have some whipped cream left over too, if I had to guess. There's a lot of it in there. Okay. Almost all of these cupcakes are done. You know, I definitely did not evenly distribute them. Some of these are a lot taller than others, but whatever. That's why I'm not a professional baker. Almost done getting these out here. Then I will come back to the chat and we will count down the minutes here until they're cool. I might just have to do a warm one preemptively if we're running out of time so we can see how it looks. Almost there. Now I got the last cupcake. Awesome. Okay. So hopefully these cool out a little bit quicker, not in the hot pans. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll toss one in the fridge. Like, oh yeah, so the oven was 350. It said to bake them for about 16 minutes. I think I probably did it closer to 20 because they took a lot longer than I expected. I'm going to toss one of these cupcakes in the fridge, and then I'll hope that it'll be, it'll cool down enough that we can do at least one live on the stream here. I think it probably will. One cupcake in the fridge should not take that long to cool down. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to get one of my piping bags here, and we're going to fill it with frosting. I need to cut the tip off just enough to make the little design. Yeah, someone was saying that like on baking shows they always put stuff in the fridge. I don't know how many of you watch like Great British Bake Off or whatever, but they're always running out of time with things cooling. Luckily, in real life, usually you're not as pressured time wise, but it's still kind of annoying when you're trying to do a live stream and things aren't done cooling. We got 25 minutes left though, so I think we'll probably be able to make at least one cupcake, and I might have to do the rest later tonight, since I actually do have a job aside from this, and I will have to go back to that job for the rest of the day. Believe it or not. Okay, I'm filling my pastry bag here with frosting. We're going to use that to do a little cute design on top of the cupcakes. I really like the suggestion from someone to do MLH. My handwriting is pretty terrible, so I can't promise that it will be legible, but I will definitely do my best to do that. Okay, so this is what people do when you get like your name written on cakes, right? They usually have a bag full of icing and they pipe it on. He's got to push it all the way down to the bottom. This is pretty hard icing, so it's a little funkier to work with than normal. Yeah, I wish I had a blast freezer. That would be pretty cool. Sadly, this is a home kitchen, not a professional kitchen, so um, not quite the same. Okay, you can see the icing here. Whoop. Yep, it definitely looks right to me. Okay. That's pretty much it. So really the last step here is to cut out the middles and, you know, assemble everything. I'm going to wash my hands real quick and get back to it. You know what the worst part of baking at home is? The cleanup. Y'all can't see my sink really, but it's kind of a mess right now. Okay. Kind of a mess, not gonna lie. Okay. Well, that's pretty much it. So let me see if I have some cookie cutters here to finish these off. You're basically supposed to cut a hole in the middle with a little like ring cutter thing. This says I need a 1 1/8 inch round cookie cutter. You know, Fahrenheit doesn't really make sense. I know that people are talking about that in the chat, but it's quite a bit more confusing than the metric system. But you know, we're special. We're special over here in the U.S. and we like to do our own thing. I suppose. I don't know that it would be my choice to stick to Fahrenheit, but it's not my decision either. So now the question becomes, where the heck is my little cookie cutter thing? I have so many random things in different places here that I have no idea where that stuff has ended up. Let's see. I might need to like walk on a chair here to figure it out. Going up to the yeah, get checkout home failed. Too true. Too true, folks. Ah, here they are. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, got my little cookie cutters. This says I need 1 1/8 inch round. Hey. How the hell am I supposed to figure out which one that is? I'm gonna have to get a measuring tape to measure my cookie cutters here. 1 1/8. That's. I can only assume that's the smallest one, but this is. Oh wow, that's 1 1/2. I don't even have a 1 1/8 inch one. Hmm. Well, that's a conundrum. I might have to just cut it out with a knife. Let me just double check and make sure I don't have anything hidden in here that would work in my drawer of magical tricks. Does not look like it though. It really doesn't. Bigger cookie cutter is more filling. That is true, but I'm a little worried this is too big. I have a feeling that's too big. I might just have to eyeball it and cut it out on my own, which is fine. Unless there's like a secret mini one hiding up here somewhere, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah, okay, whatever. We'll eyeball it. I don't think anyone will notice. Let's see how that cookie's looking. I'd love to finish one off here. Cookie, I said cookie, I meant cupcake. Still a little warm. We'll give it a minute more. All right, so for the next 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to do an AMA here. What do people want to know about MLH? I can tell you anything. I've been doing this for 8 years now, and we have a lot of apocryphal stories about weird things Swift has done over the years. I'm also happy to talk about hackathons and what we've seen there while we're killing time. Do you wash them? No, you don't wash these cookies. You do put chocolate on top, which makes it a little bit shiny. Usually when you're egg washing stuff, it's like more pastry, so like a pie crust or something like that. For cupcakes, you don't really need to because they are kind of naturally a little bit shiny. The funniest moment at MLH in 8 years. Huh. Yes. So MLH has always been called MLH. Um, I had actually registered the domain name a couple of years before we started doing MLH, and when Swift started going around and kind of creating the initial iteration of MLH before I started, helping him, um, he asked me if he could use the name, and I gave him the domain name, and it's really always been called that since the first moments. Um, the funniest moment in the history of MLH. So that's a really good question. Um, I do remember one time where we had and this is actually a Swift story, but we used to have this trophy, right? You've probably seen it in like our Facebook photos or maybe even on Twitch, where it's this like massive metal trophy, kind of like V-shaped. And um, there was another version of it before that, but we uh, used to literally bring that to like every hackathon, right? Because there were so few hackathons at the time that we could bring the trophy and show it off at all of them. And it was kind of a pain in the butt to ship, right? Because it was so big. And so sometimes Swift would actually bring it on airplanes with him out of necessity. And there's this one time, and he always tells this story, where he brought this trophy into the airport with him in like a big, box. And they stopped him at security and they were like, "Sir, like, what is this? Like, you have a big jagged piece of metal here." And he was like, "Oh, like I'm the commissioner of MLH. Like we you know like we need this trophy for our events." And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Commissioner. Like let me through." And so he took the trophy through security, and they let him take it in. And they got on the plane, and he carried it onto the plane like carry on baggage. And the flight attendant came over and was like, "Yo, like you can't have this big jagged metal trophy on the plane with you. Like you got to put that somewhere." And he was like, "Well, I'm the commissioner. Like I have to have it." And she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Commissioner. Like And she basically made the person sitting next to him move so they could strap in the trophy. And apparently being a commissioner holds a lot of weight. I never would have guessed, but he. We have a lot of weird stories about that trophy. Um, Mike Swift and Ryan Swift. I actually don't know if they're related. That's a great question. Um, MLH still is called Major League Hacking. We usually just use the MLH abbreviation because it's easier, but technically it's still Major League Hacking. So if you go to MLH.io or MajorLeagueHacking.com, they both go to the same place because they are the same place. Okay, I'm going to attempt to finish this cupcake while we still have a little time here. Not the cleanest work surface, but let me maybe I'll put it on a plate so it looks a little nicer. Yeah, that's better. Okay, we are going to attempt to cut a hole in this in the middle because my cookie cutters are a little bit too big. And now I think I might need a little spoon to get this out. Use the backside of a fork here. Okay, great. Came out. So we have a hollow cupcake there. This says roughly compress the cake layer at the bottom to make room for more filling. Okay, so I'm gonna press that down a little bit. I feel like that's pretty good. Then put it in a piping bag and fill each cupcake. stopping just shy of the top. I'm going to be super lazy and not use a piping bag. I'm just going to use a spoon. I need a spoon first. Okay. Oh, I'll tell you the story of a self-driving car, too. That's a good one. Okay. Piping bag might have been easier, actually, now that I try this. Okay, so we have a filled cupcake. Then the recipe says, tear the top crust off. So basically this, and plug it back up. And then put a tablespoon or so of the topping. Sorry, you can probably hear my dog barking in the background there. We're going to do a tablespoon of the topping here. And that is theoretically what we got to do. And then while we're waiting for this to cool, I will give you the self-driving car story. Ooh, this is harder than that looks. Or maybe I'm just worse at it than I thought. So we're trying to cover the whole top. That looks pretty good. And the recipe says, how long does it have to solidify for? Okay, so it says to refrigerate it. I'm going to taste the cupcake while we're waiting. Oh yeah, that's good. That's really tasty. Damn, that's a good cupcake. Okay, we're going to toss this in the fridge to harden the chocolate. And I'm going to attempt to pipe MLH on, and then we'll be done. And in the meantime, I will tell you, actually, maybe I'll toss in the freezer since we don't have that much time here. I know you all can't see me, but I'm in my freezer. Okay, cool. So the story of the self-driving car. Yeah, so they are chocolate cupcakes. I was recreating Hostess Cupcakes, which I think I'll probably have to open and do a side-by-side comparison. But I'll tell you, that little scrap of cupcake I just tasted was pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. So one of the most innovative projects and one of my favorite stories from hackathons is of this homemade self-driving car. So there was this hacker, this guy, Ben Cohen, who used to go to tons of hackathons, and he won pretty frequently. He was like a very prolific hacker. And I used to see him all over the place. And I ran into him at one of his final hackathons ever. This event called Brick Hack at Rochester Institute of Technology in New York State. And I saw him at the beginning of the event, and I was like, yo, Ben, like, what are you going to make this weekend? And he was like, oh, it's a surprise. Like, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, fine. And I went on and did all of my MLH stuff throughout the event, but I didn't really see much of Ben. He was kind of, persona non grata, right? Like doing his own thing in private. And I got to the end of the event, and I went out to like the demo science fair, and I was walking around to all the tables doing some judging, and I saw Ben over at his table. I was like, hey man, like, how's it going? Like, what did you build? And I noticed that there was nothing on his table. It was completely blank. And so I was like, okay, like, what's going on here? Like, did your hack not turn out? And he was like, no, like, let me show you. And he told me to follow him. And it was the middle of winter. And he walked me right out the doors of the auditorium we were in into the parking lot. And I was freezing because I didn't bring a jacket. But he walked me over to this like really beat up, kind of like gross looking car, very similar to the one I had in college. And he opened the door and he was like, yo, get in. And I got into this car and he closed the door behind me and it just started driving. And I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna die. Like, get me out of this freaking crazy car. And he was like standing there in the parking lot just laughing. And I looked around and I noticed that like the steering wheel was like duct taped to a bunch of 3D printed gears, and that on the roof of the car through the sunroof, there was a laptop just like taped up there. And it turned out he had built like a really janky homemade self driving car using like his laptop's webcam and a 3D printer. Um, Luckily, we stopped the car and I was able to get out and, be here with you today, not dead in a parking lot at RIT. But that was easily one of the most like mind blowing, impressive hacks I've ever seen. There's actually a video of it on the MLH Facebook page somewhere. So if you go like really digging around, like we're talking like 6 years ago, maybe more, you'll be able to find it. But yeah, that was a really really cool project. Um, I would never ride that thing outside of a parking lot, but in the parking lot, pretty fun. So yeah, we're just waiting for the cupcake to harden a little bit. This is the actual Hostess cupcake. We'll do a little side by side comparison. But we're pretty much done here, folks. We have about 10 minutes left. I'll try and write MLH on before we're done. For anyone who's curious, this is the cookbook. It's called Brave Tart. The author is Stella Parks. She also writes a lot of recipes on the blog Serious Eats, which is a fantastic place to find recipes. Highly, highly recommend. Um, but it's this one in particular I really like because they have a lot of like really classic like American recipes, and they're really high quality. Like she explains a lot of the science behind them. Um, okay, we have a question here from Sri Karan. Did you apply to be a coach? That's really the first step. So that's what you gotta do. Will these cupcakes be part of the LHD swag? I wish. I don't think they'll hold up very well in transit. Are the cupcakes the swag drop? No, sadly. I'm also hungry. Like I really want to eat this cupcake. I actually forgot to eat lunch before this because I had a another phone call. So I'm kind of waiting to have this cupcake for lunch. Ooh, lunch of PB&J on toasted sourdough. Wow, that sounds like a really really good lunch. Honestly, did you make the sourdough yourself? I've been doing a sourdough for the last year or so. I actually have my sourdough starter over here. I need to feed it. It's a little hungry. Okay, folks. I'm really hoping we'll be able to write. Yeah, if you made the sourdough, you're John's second best friend. It's true. I do love a homemade sourdough. There's actually a bunch of people on the MLH team who have been making them over the last year or so, and they're quite good. I have really enjoyed baking some sourdough recently. Man, I really did get chocolate all over my floor here. Let's see, what else do we got here? You bought the sourdough. Okay. You like my pans anodized. So there's actually a lot of different pans over here. There's some cast iron, there's some steel, there's some non-stick, there's some, I forget what this one's called. It's like the carbon steel stuff. I have a little assortment. I've kind of just collected a pan here and there over the years. They're not really all like the same brand or type or anything like that. Local cupcake day. That is indeed what this is. Okay, so I'm gonna show or attempt to write MLH before I do that cupcake. Let's see. Can you all see this? Okay, I'm gonna bring back the Nesty baking cam and my dirty counter, and we're gonna try and write MLH on the little plate before I subject the cupcake to it. Okay. Let's see. How do we do this here? Hmm. I wonder if I need to cut a bigger hole. I feel like this is not coming out thick enough. Oh, maybe it is. No, I might cut a bigger hole here. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, we're gonna try to do MLH. You know, I took cursive in school when I was a little kid. Clearly, it did not stick. That's not awful. Let's try one more time as I get the hang of this. And we'll do an LHD for good measure. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's not really legible. I apologize. It's not terrible. I can kind of read it. Okay. We're going to try and do this on that one cupcake that's been in the freezer and hope for the best here. And then I'm going to eat it. Okay. Let's see. See if we can get an MLH on here. Well, not the prettiest cupcake I've ever seen, but you can definitely tell it says MLH. Okay, so now we're going to do our little side-by-side taste test comparison, and then I will hand you off to your next presenter here. I'm going to take the paper off of this cupcake. Okay, so here's the Hostess. Here's mine. I'm going to cut them in half here, see what they look like. Maybe I'll get like a little Paul Hollywood handshake. That's the Hostess one. They look pretty similar on the inside. Mine's definitely like softer. Okay, now I will tell you which one I like the taste of better. That's a good Hostess cupcake. Has that classic processed food flavor. Oop, this is definitely not hardened yet. I mean, the homemade one is clearly a lot better. It doesn't entirely taste the same. I mean, the Hostess one has, uh, that classic flavor of having been on a shelf for 6 months, but it's pretty damn tasty. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit me up on Discord if you have any questions or want to chat more. And happy hacking. Enjoy your next session.